Welcome to TRS Clips, where you'll find happiness through your own curiosity. Tell me about your childhood and tell me from your eyes how UAE has changed since your childhood. Like, was it always like this? Because in the 8 years that I have known UAE, it's changed so much. So I can't imagine what it's changed like in the last 20, 30 years. What was your childhood like?
So I lived in Ajman, the emirate that I'm from, the smallest emirate from all seven. And there was a time when I don't think everyone would be able to believe this, but there were times when there will be blackouts, electricity blackouts. I remember this from my childhood because in the summer, there's too much demand on electricity. The country was growing too fast. It was very difficult to catch up with that.
This is the 80s, 90s?
This is the 90s, early 90s, I would say.
Gotcha.
But then, I also saw when this was no longer an issue and, you didn't need to worry about this. I moved different homes throughout my childhood. So I lived in quite a few places until I settled down with my mother and my sister and my godmother in a single house. And from there, I shifted to my workplace in Abu Dhabi. And then I was between the different emirates because of changing circumstances in my personal life. And now I'm in India. So this has been a very summarized version of my childhood, but feel free to ask.
I mean, my actual underlying question here is also how locals from UAE look at the growth that you guys have seen, because this would have happened in your lifetime. You would have seen all this infrastructure growth, growth of the population, facilities, etc. And the second question is, how do you look at the individual emirates? For example, if I had to say, something positive about Delhi, I'd say great food, lot of friendship-based culture. If I had to say a positive about Mumbai, I'd say finance capital, media. So how do you look at the different emirates? But also, how do you just look at this whole story? Like, how is it from your eyes?
So Ajman developed a lot, but it developed at a time when I was already moving to a different emirate. So it kind of took a bit longer than the other emirates that people would naturally know about. I worked in Dubai initially. So I was privy to what was happening in Dubai, because I was, driving on the roads, going to different places, flying from the airport as well. So I could see how the roads were changing. The airport was expanding. There were flights added all the time, especially that I used to work for Emirates Airline as well. And you could see the pace. And then I moved to Abu Dhabi, and the feeling in Abu Dhabi was different because I was living close to where my workplace was, and the place was developed already. I'm talking here 2013. So
Gotcha.
The place was developed. It was already there. I think in proximity to where I stayed, the only place that was still to be constructed and finished was what we call Qasr al-Watan, where we host the presidential delegations, or for example, when the Prime Minister comes and so on. And then after living in Abu Dhabi for a few years and starting to go to the areas outside, you could see those major developments that not everyone pays attention to because you're not naturally living there or staying there. So if you're coming from Dubai, for instance, you will cross into a couple of islands. There is Yas and there is Saadiyat. Yas is the one with Ferrari World and Warner Brothers and the Sea World and whatnot. And then you go to Saadiyat, and that's where the Louvre is, and a couple of other museums are coming up, including the Abrahamic house. So in that sense, now going back to Ajman, just to have it all or bring it all to one full circle, Ajman has changed significantly to what I remember from my childhood. Even when I go back to the neighborhood where I used to live, it looks very different. The houses have changed. The roads have significantly improved. And then you go to the newer areas and you see that the development has been done even better than the previous areas and than how they did in the other areas, and so on and so forth. Dubai has changed in the sense that there are new neighborhoods that are being developed because the existing neighborhoods are getting overcrowded. So now you would see people choosing to live in areas that are a little bit further away, but they get a bit of quiet. They have everything around them in terms of community. So if you look at the pace, I think the closer you get to Dubai and Abu Dhabi, the pace has been faster than compared to the other Emirates.
How do you feel about the expats coming in? Like, there's so many countries which are mixing into your country. There are other countries which look at this as not a positive thing. I actually look at it as a positive thing. I think that's what a lot of Indians would also want, that, have a mix of culture. But how do you look at it? How do local Emiratis look at it generally?
I like it. I would tend to believe that Emiratis also do like it because they have been seeing this for the longest time. And I'm not talking the past 10, 15 years. I'm talking about people who have built medical centers or small clinics or old churches in the UAE. Those also came from abroad. They were not, Emiratis who have done that, who have done those kind of things. And so there was this early exposure because of the way the UAE was formed, how the union came to being, and how it developed. The only thing that changed, I think, is that the number of nationalities coming in have increased significantly. Population has grown also significantly. And you get exposure to cultures that perhaps in the past 10 years you did not get exposure to because of the mix that is coming in and the mix that you get to see in the UAE.
I think it's a very fun place to stay because of this mix of culture.
Absolutely. I mean, if you were just living, and don't get me wrong here, it's when I go back to Ajman, for instance, my neighborhood is all Emiratis, but it's also good and it feels nice to go out certain areas to dine or whatever, and to see that people from other places are also enjoying your country and enjoying the cities and what the cities have to offer. Because I think this is an important measure of success. If you're living in your country, it's easy to find things to do. But then how do you make sure that your cities develop in a way that make others look at your cities as successful places to be in, to live in, to work, and to even visit? And I think this is kind of what puts those cities on the map.
Hey, if you enjoyed today's clip, make sure you check out all the other clips we've uploaded on this channel. You'll find a clip related to almost every single topic as long as you're willing to search for it.